Welcome to
Succeed, Even If. I'm Tom Marcoux, known as the Communication Sage and the Spoken Word Strategist.
And I'm Johanna McLeod.
In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can become skillful for great success. When I talk about the topic, darkest secrets of scaling, and I'm focusing on helping leaders expand what they do, expand their business, elevate their service, help more people on a profound level. I identify 3 secrets. I want to share with you in more detail one of those secrets, but here are the 3 secrets, darkest secrets. You can lose all trust in one moment. The second secret is, it's easy to make people afraid to tell you the truth. And the third secret, among the darkest secrets of scaling, is if you don't have a reserve, how can you handle more? Now, this third secret is something I really want to focus on right now because I've seen this in a number of industries. I've personally been in the industries of oil and banking and pharmacies, and I've seen how management mistakes drive good people out of the company. And this is why I talk about the darkest secrets of scaling. You cannot scale up your business if you lose the best people. So, Johanna, I have a question for you. When has management done something and you went, I can't trust that person?
I worked at a place that said they had a paralegal on site all the time, and they didn't. They lied.
Right, so if they lie to the public, how can you trust anything they say to you as part of their team? Lying is part of the culture. This is part of that first secret we talked about, where I say in the darkest secrets of scaling, you can lose all trust in one moment. And that's crucial, but we're going to focus on the third one right now. If you don't have a reserve, how can you handle more? Now, when I say reserve, I'm talking about a reserve of calm. I'm talking about a reserve of peace. When the storm is happening, I'm talking about a reserve of energy, a reserve of kindness, a reserve of the ability to be that leader that we can trust in all the clutch moments. And this became really clear to me when I was 15 years old. I learned something that I totally didn't expect, and it shook me up, and it opened my eyes to something that's crucial. This is so relevant to every leader, to anyone who wants to expand their business, to anyone who wants to keep the best people, to anyone who wants great success. And this is what I learned when I was 15 years old. I was in my room, I was seated, and my father came in. He grabbed me by the hair on my head and lifted me to my feet like he had done many times before. But at the age of 15, I had karate lessons, martial arts training, and I had muscle. In my heart, I had to stop this. Certainly I was upset, my fists balled up, and I was a second away from punching my father right in the face, the ex-Marine. But suddenly I went quiet inside, and I made a very deliberate choice. A respectful choice. I would not hit my father. I punched a hole in the wall. And he never lifted me by my hair on my head, which used to scare me because there would be hair on my pillow. He never spit on me again, and he never threw me into walls again. I was respectful to my father by finding a solution and going quiet inside and having a reserve inside me that I didn't even know I had. And there was a gift from my father that he didn't know he gave me, which was those karate lessons, or karate lessons, had taught me. At the beginning of every lesson, we went quiet for 2 minutes. We all sat in a line, and we all went quiet for 2 minutes. And at the end of every session, we went quiet for 2 minutes. As a kid, before the age of 15, I had no idea why we were doing that, but it put a reserve in me of calm and peace. I remember at one point I was working in a retail situation where someone said, "I like your peace." And it was really because I've maintained this habit of having a reserve, of taking quiet time every day. Now you can use many ways to build up your reserve so that you can be that trustworthy leader with peace and calm inside when everything seems to be going really badly.
To pot.
Exactly. And what you can do is have quiet time or prayer time or exercise. I myself do quiet time and a bit of Tai Chi, a bit of yoga, and of course, a bit of meditation. And I do this consistently, and I invite you to make sure that you have a reserve. I want to pause for a moment. I I've just shared with you an experience I had when I was a 15-year-old adolescent. I had a reserve. I was able to go quiet inside. I made a second choice. I made the respectful choice not to hit my father, but to punch a hole in the wall. Now, in many years since then, I've lived and I make different choices. In fact, that's why I became the spoken word strategist, because in the house I grew up in, words were not used. At this stage of my life, really want us to be strategic with our words. I also want to say that I have different solutions now. I've lived and you've lived, but are the scars of what you lived screwing you up now? Do you need to notice that you need to heal, maybe with a counselor or some other situation? Do you need to heal? And do you need to really devote some time so that you actually have a reserve of calm? Now, how do you know if you don't have a reserve? Are you yelling at employees or team members? Are you yelling at home? Are you constantly, completely exhausted? Do you make bad decisions? Do you jump the gun? Do you not respond to people with compassion, focus, and kindness? See, the great leader has three things: strength, gratitude, and kindness. We can become loyal to a leader like that. So Johanna, in our conversation so far, what has really connected with you?
Not yelling at your employees.
Oh, I hear you. So you've been through some garbage like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. If a person has an occasional lapse because they're overwhelmed, then that's okay. But we can't trust somebody who can fly off the handle, as the old phrase goes,
Mm-hmm.
at any time. You can't trust that person and you want to get away from that person. And that's why the best people quit. And you can't scale up a business if the best people are not available to you.
They flee like rats from a sinking ship.
That's the point. See, people think about all the mechanical things, our procedures and all that kind of stuff, but what they forget is that it's the people who will continue to innovate and continue to serve well and then make the company trustworthy because the people are trustworthy, because the leaders are trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we'll take a moment, what I call the Marcoux moment, where I share something from one of my over 50 books. And this book we're talking about here is Convince Investors to Fund You: The Insider's Guide to Avoid Deadly Mistakes and Gain Real Success with Your Startup Business. So on pages 80 and 81, I'm going to share a couple of the ideas that we find in this book. I talk about how you can develop the ability to adapt by using recovery methods. For example, you could say, I need to pause a moment. I want my response to be valuable to you. Or if this phrase doesn't work for you, you could say, I'm going to pause. I want to get to something that's meaningful. Another way to buy yourself time if someone asks you a tough question is to say, I see the value of your question. I haven't looked at it quite that way before. I'll take a moment. I want my response to be valuable for you. So why does this process work? It's because on average, our brains work at 700 words per minute. So as you say a memorized line, like, I need to pause for a moment. I want my response to be valuable to you. Your brain can find the answers simultaneously going at 700 words a minute. So that's part of my book, Convince Investors to Fund You: The Insider's Guide to Avoid Deadly Mistakes and Gain Real Success with Your Startup Business. Johanna, I'm curious. What are you going to keep from our conversation about 3 darkest secrets of scaling when you want to expand your business or keep your business at an excellent level? What are you going to keep?
Don't treat your employees like rats.
Well said. Excellent. Thank you, Johanna. And I also want to mention that we want to offer you, the listener, the opportunity to apply for one of the very few slots of free sessions with me, a hidden breakthrough strategy session. You can apply at getthebigyes.com/yes. Once again, that's getthebigyes.com/yes. And see my books on Amazon.com and visit me at getthebigyes.com.
This broadcast is brought to you by Tom's 8 courses on Udemy.com.
Yes, that's udemy.com. I teach courses in confidence, film directing, novel writing, and more.
Click to subscribe to this channel.
And you'll support me, Johanna, and our message.
And go to Amazon for Tom's 50-plus books.
And connect with me at my website, getthebigyes.com. Many great moments to you.
Catch you next time.